Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bloody Bunch podcast number 16. Today, we have me, Balfour, along with Buddy. The two of us again this week, because no one loves us. Because Kathy hates us. That's not true. Kathy's spending time with her chica, her lovely, lovely girlfriend that she adores. And it's okay. So this past week, I attempted to record. Remember last week I was talking about how I wanted to do the book stuff?
Yeah, I forgot. There was going to be a couple questions I was going to ask, and I never got around to it.
What do you mean?
No, you go first before I say anything.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, I tested out the book stuff, and it looks like it's going to come together pretty nicely. So, hopefully, starting next week, I can start bringing out those videos per chapter. So it's going to be like a chapter a week of books.
Better hope those are good chapters.
Yeah, so I think I'm debating what series I want to start with first. So, because I can do Harry Potter, I can do the Inheritance Cycle, or I can start doing the Dumas stuff. I think I'm going to try and do Aragon first.
Ooh.
Because it's about dragons, and I love dragons and junk. So that is probably going to be the book that we're going to start with first. So every week I'm going to read a chapter, and it's going to be on YouTube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make kind of like a slideshow of the chapters. That way people who are listening to it can also read along with it. That way you guys can see it in context. So that's what I'm excited about.
That's pretty cool, honestly.
What was the question? What was the questions that you had?
It was mostly just one question that I had. It was it's a weird one. It was just like, are you gonna just just really read it as is? You're gonna add voices to it or what?
So my idea is kind of like audiobooks where I'm going to read it, and then if there's a specific narration, I'm going to read it in a specific voice. If there's characters, I'm going to read theirs in a specific voice. That way the people who are just listening to it can differentiate between the characters. Okay, so cool. I'm going to try my best to make voices for characters. Which means I'm going to have to constantly reference back to which character sounds like which one.
Yeah.
So it should be an interesting project that I've been wanting to try out for a while. Because I don't know if anyone else knows, but I actually really do love books and I love stories. I love writing. It's a lot of fun. And this can be a way for people to enjoy books without having to actually physically read a book because, people are lazy and that's just...
Or really have to pay for a subscription for an audiobook.
That too. Because I mean, it's a thing. So was that the only question you had, or?
That was really my only question.
Oh, okay. Well, said questions, and I was so ready. I was gonna be like, I'm gonna answer this question. I'm gonna answer that question.
I know, but I just kind of wrapped it up into one, really, because.
Hey, it works. If it works, it works. Yeah. But speaking of stories, I'm kind of upset because I don't know if I talked to you about it. I think Lauren and I talked about it. I love Ocean's 11, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it was originally a book.
I believe so.
And then the Rat Pack did a movie version of it.
Yep.
And then they rebooted it back in 2003 or something like that with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. Yeah. And a huge ensemble of people.
Oh, yeah.
It was great, fantastic series. Loved it. And just found out that they're going to be releasing an Ocean's 8, which is a reboot of Ocean's 11.
Oh, no.
With an entirely female cast.
Oh, no.
Now, let me say this before I rant, because I'm going to rant about this for a little bit.
I just want to say something just before you do. You can cut it out if you want.
Go.
Tumblr unite. Fuckers.
Well, I just want to say this. I don't mind an all-female cast. I want an all-female cast.
Yeah.
What I don't want is I am tired. I'm sick and tired of movies being rebooted and rehashed because of lack of idea. I think if and don't get me wrong, like the casting for Ocean's 8 is phenomenal. Like the women that they have coming in it is going to be great. I'm going to watch it because Anne Hathaway's in it, so I have to. I think Sandra Bullock's in it too. But if it was just those 8 characters in a brand new story, a brand new movie,
instead of
I
just
would love it.
A reboot, yeah.
Yeah, I would love it. I want that. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't want is for someone to take a story that I like a lot
and shit on it.
Not necessarily shit on it, but change it in a very big way. Because I mean, like the reason why it was called Ocean's 11 was because they specifically needed 11 individuals to perform the heist and to get it done correctly because everyone had specific skills. Yes, you can argue, oh, well, they can just change certain things for 8 people. Yes, you can, but I just don't understand why you have to make another one when the movies were already good as they were. Like, it's just, I don't know. It puts a bad taste in my mouth. And I finally got to watch Ghostbusters, and I went into it wanting to like it. Yeah, like I wanted to like it. Yeah. I think individually the cast is great,
but together,
I just didn't feel like it worked in the movie. I thought it was entertaining, but I think as a whole, I thought it was just kind of, eh. And it's not about them being women. It was just the writing just wasn't that great, in my opinion.
Okay.
And after watching it and then going back, I still don't like the fact that they don't acknowledge that the originals exist.
Oh, that's what that would bug me. That would bug me a lot.
Like, it's just, it just, there's a lot of things that put me off about it. I just stop rebooting stuff. Like, seriously, just, there's no reason to reboot franchises. Like, other than money, and I know that's the reason why studios are doing it, is because they need to find something that people are super interested in, and they're like, ooh, we're gonna get a lot of people because people love this story, so let's just reboot it. Just stop. Just stop.
If you want to continue a series, at least work off of the story, if anything.
I completely agree. That is what I would love to see. Now, okay, so going back to Ocean's 8, this is the only way that I will honestly be happy about it, is if they got, oh crap, I can't remember her name. It's the wife of Danny in the original Ocean's 11.
Wife of Danny.
Yeah, of George Clooney's character. I can't remember her name. She's like a big part in the second one. Give me 1 second. I am looking it up right now.
For the time being, let's just
Julia Roberts. So okay, so this is what I would love for them to do, because as of Ocean's 8, they only announced 7 characters. They haven't said who the 8th character is. Yeah. If they say Julia Roberts is the 8th character,
you'll like it.
And they tie it into the Ocean's 11 series, I will be okay. Yeah. Because that means that they're acknowledging that the newer version of Ocean's 11 exists. And it's not taken away from what they've done in the past. Instead, it's like, all right, she's getting a group together in order for them to do something. I would be okay with that. That sounds exciting to me as an Ocean's 11 fan.
I can agree with that.
But we'll just have to see what happens, man. I know my mom brought it up, and I was like, oh man. It's just I'm tired of reboots. That's it. Just
I agree with you completely. Just
give me something new. Give me something new. And speaking of something new, I watched a movie the other night with Lonely Island. It's Party something.
It was like Popstar something.
Oh yeah, it's hold on, it's
The life of it's like Popstar.
Popstar.
The life of Pop.
No, it's Popstar. Never Stop, Never Stopping. And
Okay.
it is hilarious. If you guys like the Lonely Island music, it's essentially the entire movie is just a Lonely Island CD. And if you get their sense of humor, then you're absolutely gonna enjoy it. And what I really, really like too is because I've dabbled a little bit in the entertainment industry and I've seen the workings of certain things. They put it on blast. Like the entire movie, they make fun of the industry as itself. Like, and they get real like producers and musicians in the movie to like, you know, make fun of themselves. Like who was that harsh judge on American Idol?
Simon Cowell.
Yeah, they like so he comes in as on interviews a couple of times. 50 Cent in it, Jay-Z.
I know Seal is, I think.
Yeah, and it's a funny. It kind of has crude humor, because it's Lonely Island.
Oh, of course.
But it's a pretty funny movie. I recommend it if you just want something to kick back and just laugh about.
Yeah.
Go for it. Just have fun with it. But getting into some more serious stuff. Really serious stuff for me.
Uh-oh. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen.
If you are a Digimon fan, oh my god. First off, spoilers for everyone who hasn't seen the third movie of Digimon Tri.
Oh my god.
And it's going to happen for the next couple minutes. So, just be warned.
Please.
So, for everyone who doesn't know, Digimon Tri is the third season of the original Digimon series. And I love the way that they're doing this. So originally they were going to release it as a new series, like an episodic series. So like one episode a week for like a few weeks. But instead, they went a different direction, and I'm loving the direction that they're going in. They've compiled 5 episodes into a movie, and in Japan they released the movie of the 5 episodes, and then the day after on Crunchyroll you can watch those 5 episodes in singular form, so like episode 1 through 5. So last week they released the third movie in Japan. So there's a total of 15 episodes right now on Crunchyroll. I think it's 15. It's either 15 or 13. Like I think the second movie only had 4 episodes. Anyway, I went through an emotional roller coaster last night because I got to watch it, and oh my god, Lauren and Buddy were on the Skype call at the time, and I sound like an idiot.
It was great. We loved it.
Because like I was saying things out of context. I was like freaking out over certain instances.
Here's how you can just put it into perspective for a lot of other people. Think of it as somebody tweeting the Grammys out of context, but with Digimon.
That's a good way to put. I mean, I was freaking out like every it was annoying for me because they got to hear how I am when I criticize stuff. Where there's like certain parts in an episode where I'm just like, why is it nighttime here? Or like, why are you crying? So that is one thing I said a lot last night. Was,
why are you crying?
Why are you crying? Like, why are you being a little bitch? Like, that was a lot of what happened last night.
I said that so much.
And then, like, ironically, like, right after I said that, I was like, oh my god, no. Like,
yeah.
Like, I was the one who was crying. It's like, that's karma.
Pretty much.
But it's really, really cool. I've loved Digimon for a long time, and I was telling Lauren this yesterday. One of the things that I really, really enjoy is they used to have like collectible cards that you can collect.
Yeah.
And so I used to have like a lot of the original Digidestined characters,
nice.
mega evolutions that were never shown in the TV show.
Ooh.
So the only mega evolutions you ever saw in the original series, not the movies, in the series, was War Greymon and Metal Garurumon. Those were the only 2 of the Digidestined Digimon that you got to see their mega evolutions. But when the show was on, I got to collect the Mega Evolutions of the cards of the original Digidestined. So I got to see like Hercules Kabuterimon, Phoenixmon, I think it's like Zeusmon, which are the Mega Evolutions of like Bergermon, Ikakumon, and
Amon. There was that one.
Kabuterimon. Even though, so what's cool about Adventure Try is these episodes or these movies, they usually end with one of the other Digidestined Digimon evolving into their Mega Digivolutions. And it has been driving me insane. Like, last night, I got tingles, and it was the weirdest sensation ever. I was just in my chair, and my body just like, it felt like a cold shower just hit me, and I was just like, like, it was, I had a moment.
It's just the word you used, tingled.
I did, man. It was tingly. It was tingly, and I saw it, and I wanted to cry. But I got super excited because it's a more mature version of Digimon because, I mean, all of the people who love Digimon, it just celebrated its 20th anniversary. I think it was last year. No, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was a time. It was a thing. It happened at one point in time. So like all the people who love Digimon are either my age or like 5 or 6 years older. So the story is taking a darker turn, and I am super happy about it because you get to see these characters mature, and it makes me very, very happy. Digimon is my favorite anime of all time. Like, I don't watch too much anime. I watch,
but that's the one you watch is hardcore.
yeah, like I watch a lot of like 90s and early 2000s anime, which probably were actually published like in the 80s, because like Americans didn't get all the cool stuff until the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
But like those are the anime that I typically watch. Like Rurouni Kenshin, which is a phenomenal anime series if you guys ever get a chance to watch it. Along with like Trigun or Cowboy Bebop. Essentially like anything that was on Toonami at that point in time, because that was the way that I got exposed to anime, was through Toonami.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think a lot of us did.
Most of us really did.
Yeah. So, I that's just the way that I came about it. But Digimon Try is so good. And so going back to the way that the show is being released, they're releasing it in movies. So the first movie was released last year in December, like right before Star Wars came out. That was a crazy week for me because I was like, Star Wars, Digimon, everything's coming out. And then the second movie didn't come out until April. So it took 4 months for the next 5 episodes to come out, and everyone was so hyped. At first, everyone was disappointed. They're like, oh, what? Why we have to wait that long in order for it to come around? But, I mean, those 4 months went by so fast. And then, those 5 episodes came, and it kicked you in the balls. And then they're just like, hey, by the way, you have to wait until September, until the third movie. And everyone's like, God damn it! But then again, it's like, you waited, it came out, and you watched those 5 episodes, and again, it pulled you at the heartstrings. It reached into your heart, it crushed it, and then it let go, and then it pulled back. And then it showed you a pretty puppy, and you're like, oh. And then they're like, hey, by the way, yeah, you guys won't see the next movie until February.
And then everyone just flipped their tables.
Yeah, and it's in my opinion, I think it is the best way to really enjoy a show. Because you have 5 20-minute episodes, which, I mean, in total, it's like 18 minutes of actual story, because like beginning titles and end sequences.
Yeah.
I'm having the most... this is probably the most fun I've had watching a series, is watching it in these increments and then waiting a couple of months, because then you get hyped up again. You're like, oh my god, I remember this. But like when I saw it in April, the very last episode, it ended a certain way, and then the first episode of the new movie that came out started like the day of that episode. So it's like you get an instant refresher as soon as you get in. It's just it is so good. It is so good. I love it. I'm super excited, and they finally have an English cast for Adventure Try, and Johnny Young Bosch, who a lot of you know from Trigun, from probably another anime that he does voiceover on because he does a ton of voiceover work. Also, the fucking Black Power Ranger. He's gonna be
fucking way.
He's gonna be playing TK in Digimon. So,
ooh.
And then all the original voice actors from the first season are coming back to reprise their roles as well. So I'm excited for that because then it means I can just rewatch Digimon all over again.
But in English.
Because like
criticize that.
Well, for me, it's very difficult. Honestly, like it's difficult for me to sit down and watch anything, if it's in English, if it's in like if I'm subtitles, whatever. It's very difficult for me to just sit down and watch something. It's even harder for me to sit down and watch an anime with English subtitles because I constantly want to look somewhere else or need to do something else. So when I'm watching Digimon, I have to kind of go back sometimes because I might miss a couple of things. So I'm excited for the English dub to come out because although the translation, there's going to be a couple of things that are going to be lost in translation, which happens all the time in anime. But at least I can enjoy it the second time around. And if you're a person who's like, you can only enjoy it if you watch it in English sub, you're a piece of shit. Shut up. No one cares if your elite is bullcrap. If you're going to enjoy an anime, you're going to enjoy an anime. Just because he said, oh my god, I can't believe her butt in English, and then he says, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't touch her ass in Japanese, who gives a shit? Talking about her butt. Who cares? You got the context. Anyway.
And I approve this message.
If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Simple as that.
Really?
It doesn't matter if you like subbed over dubbed. You enjoy it for the art, whatever. You enjoy it because you enjoy it.
And it's funny because I used to be the dub over sub elitist at a young age, and then I said, you know what? No, they're both good. It's just a matter of whether or not the voice actors are shit.
Honestly, that's another thing. Like the voice acting can make or break a series. I was trying to watch Dragon Ball Z. Was it Super?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the continuation of Dragon Ball Z, and I like the story. The story is very cool because it's like, oh, like, you know, you were able to just defeat everyone in the universe, but what about the gods? It's like, what? And that's cool. But the Japanese voice for Goku pisses me off.
Because he sounds like a little girl.
Because it's like, dude, like, come on. And it's just really obnoxious.
It really is.
And I know that there are people who only watch the sub that watch the dub, and they're like, oh, his voice is horrible. I get it. It's just whatever sounds better to your ears, watch it that way. It doesn't matter. For Super, I just put up with it because there is no English dub for it. The only English dub was the two movies that they essentially like combined all the episodes into a movie for the English release, which is cool, but it kind of, I mean, it would be awesome if someone picked up the rights to be able to do the Dragon Ball Z Super, because I think it's just really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens.
And we'll see you in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. I
give that a 10.10.
I love Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was awesome. But I think that's really it that I have for this episode. Unless you have anything to add, buddy.
Not really. But except for I watched an interesting movie last night, and it kind of
tell us, please.
I gotta see the first one because it'll make more sense to me. I guess it was To Sir with Love.
I've heard of that movie,
and all I know is from bits and pieces because it did in the second movie as well. Is it's a English teacher who tries to make students out of misfits. And in the first one, that's what he did. In the second one, he retires and all of a sudden gets a job up in Chicago, dealing with those little miscreants. And of course, he gets flack and resistance, much like in films like that. And eventually, it shows the characters developing and a few other things. It was just one scene that just kind of like tugged at the heartstrings, because you find out that he was searching for somebody that he kind of had like a fling with in the first movie, and she went away. She finds her again. She's dying. They're finally doing all the things. I'm going, I do not need this at 2:00 in the morning.
I don't want to feel. Why am I feeling?
Yeah, it's basically how I felt. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Actually, I think my mom recommended to me that I should watch To Sir with Love.
I think you would enjoy it.
I like older movies, so I'm pretty sure that I would like it.
Yeah.
So I just, in my opinion, I just think older movies had better screenwriters, because I feel like the writers wanted the essence of writing and they weren't forced on a deadline for big budget like marketing movies.
Yeah.
Like Transformers. Transformers is stupid. I love Transformers, don't get me wrong, but it's stupid.
I can just give you 2 words why. Michael Bay!
Listen, Armageddon was great.
That was it.
Stop rehashing explosions.
It's like, oh, you get T-boned by a chicken coop or whatever. Explosions!
throw a pebble at a wall. Explosions!
Basically. And then what you don't hear, because they kind of take it out of in post-production, is that when it explodes, you just hear, Michael Bay!
And then the title sequence appears. No, but that's cool. Yeah, so by Buddy's recommendation, y'all should watch To Sir with Love. And what I'm going to be doing, I know when we had the first iteration of the Bloody Bunch, we tried to do a movie club type thing. I think what I'm going to do is every week I'm going to pick a movie that just everyone should just watch. You guys don't have to watch it. We don't have to talk about it. I'm just going to throw it in the podcast and just say, like, this is the movie of the week. Or maybe just the movie of the month that someone should just go and watch the film.
It'd also be a good conversation piece.
Yeah, I mean, because I love watching movies. I just love stories. Like, just like the beginning of this podcast. I love good stories. Just things that, like, are just dramatic, that throw you in different directions, plot twists, villains, good guys, everything. I love it. So I guess. Why
do you like DC? I'm kidding.
Oh my god, man, DC! Don't even get me started.
I know.
But yeah, so I think this is a good spot to end for the podcast. So by Buddy's recommendation, I think everyone should go watch To Sir with Love. I know I'm gonna watch it this week. That way I can maybe talk about it for like a few minutes before, not before, but at the beginning of the podcast, so we can just kind of talk about it for a little bit, and then I'll probably pick another movie for everyone to watch. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning into this week's podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to us on SoundCloud and on iTunes. Don't forget to share the podcast around, and we will see you guys next week. So bye.
See ya.